It was just another Sunday expedition with the crew, exploring the forgotten guts of the old city. Mark, Leo, and I. We considered ourselves urban archaeologists, not vandals. Our target that day was the old municipal parking structure, built into the bedrock beneath what used to be the main industrial district. Rumors always circulated about deeper levels, sealed off after some unrecorded incident in the 50s. We'd finally found a ventilation shaft that seemed to go lower than the blueprints indicated. The air in the shaft was thick, tasting of dust and damp concrete. Our headlamps cut through the gloom, revealing ancient rebar and crumbling mortar. We rappelled down about 30 feet, landing on a narrow ledge that opened into a cavernous space. This wasn't a parking level. This was something else entirely. The ceiling was lost to our lights, stretching into an inky blackness. The floor was uneven, littered with what looked like chunks of stone and petrified earth. Columns, impossibly thick, rose from the ground, disappearing upwards. They weren't smooth. They had a rough, organic texture. We moved cautiously, our boots crunching. Then Mark stopped. "Hold up. What is that?" We aimed our beams where he pointed. It was embedded in the far wall, a massive section of what looked like solidified rock and ancient concrete. But protruding from it, partially obscured, was a colossal gray form. It was easily 60 feet tall, maybe more, merging with the crumbling rock around it. As our lights moved closer, the shape became horrifyingly clear. It was a humanoid torso, arms fused to its sides, head bowed slightly forward. Its skin, or what remained of it, was petrified, stone-like, but disturbingly detailed. Veins, musculature, all frozen. When I passed over the eyes again, something caught. A glint, a shift. "Guys," I said, my voice barely a whisper, "did you see that?" We fixed our beams on the colossal, stony face. The right eye, it moved, slowly, just a fraction of an inch. But then the left eye followed. A grind. A subtle adjustment. It was looking at us, tracking us. Its head was still bowed, trapped in the rock, but its eyes were free. They were deep, dark, and utterly devoid of life, yet they moved with a horrifying, sluggish purpose. We didn't say another word. We turned, scrambled back to the shaft. The cellar was cold, damp, and smelled of earth and something metallic. Above us, the world was ending. The Titan breach had been sudden, a seismic shockwave that ripped through the city, followed by a guttural roar that still echoed in my ears. Now only the low rumble of collapsing structures punctuated the oppressive silence. We'd been down there for maybe 6 hours. My arm throbbed where a falling picture frame had caught me. Sarah had a nasty cut on her forehead. Tom limped. Mrs. Gable shivered constantly, her face pale and streaked with dust. But Marcus was different. He sat on an overturned bucket in the corner, his knees drawn up, utterly still. His clothes were smudged, but he didn't have a single visible injury. His hair was barely disheveled. The cellar door, thick oak, had been forced shut by falling debris from the house above. We tried to open it an hour ago. Tom and I had strained, grunted, pushed until our muscles burned. A heavy wooden beam, dislodged from the ceiling above, blocked it completely. It was impossible. Marcus stood up. He walked over to the door. "Let me try." Tom scoffed. "It's not going anywhere, mate. We already." Marcus didn't wait. He bent, a casual movement, and gripped the beam. His back didn't even tense. He pulled. Slowly, almost silently, the massive timber scraped across the concrete floor. It moved. It shifted, inch by agonizing inch, until it was clear of the door. Then he let it drop, the thud echoing in the small space. We all stared. Tom's jaw hung slack. How did you do that?" Marcus turned, his eyes sweeping over our faces. There was no pride, no explanation. Just a blank, assessing stare. My stomach twisted. It wasn't human strength, not like that. It was too easy. Later, the single bare bulb hanging from the ceiling flickered. The power was dying. In the sudden dimness, I saw Marcus looking at Mrs. Gable. She was curled up, trying to sleep, her thin frame shaking. His gaze wasn't concerned. It was hungry, clinical, like a wolf watching a lamb. My breath caught in my throat. He caught me watching him then, and his eyes snapped to mine. They were deep, empty pools, cold. I held his stare for a terrifying second, then looked away, my heart hammering against my ribs. We were trapped. The Titans were outside, but something worse was in here with us. The world outside was a wasteland. The world inside was a cage, and Marcus was just watching, waiting. My job was structural repair, specifically deep within Wall Sina. It's cold down there always. Our drones hummed, their lights cutting SWAT has through the gloom, highlighting crumbling mortar and stress fractures. We were working on a particularly old section near the Utopia district. We had just cleared a section of degraded fill, exposing the raw stone behind it. My colleague, Marco, whistled. "Look at this patch. Different kind of stone, isn't it?" I shined my lamp. He was right. It was darker, almost black, with a strange, almost fibrous texture, unlike anything I'd seen. It felt warm somehow under my gloved hand, despite the biting cold. Over the next few days, more of this peculiar rock was exposed. The texture varied, twisting and nodding in places, suggesting something organic. Then it started to look like skin. Stretched, wrinkled, petrified. One morning I was alone in a newly exposed chamber. My fingers traced an outline, a forehead, a brow ridge, a cheekbone. I shone my lamp directly onto it, and there it was, a face. Grotesque, distorted, eyes shut tight, mouth agape in a silent scream. I stumbled back, my breath catching in my throat. I heard it then, a low hum, a vibration from the wall itself. A sound like stones grinding, but with something else underneath. A whisper or 1,000 whispers, ancient, guttural, crawling into my ears. "Marco," I shouted, my voice cracking. He rushed in, dismissing it as just a weird rock formation, but his voice was softer than usual. I felt the shifting. The stone around the face seemed to subtly ripple, almost breathe. The whispers intensified, angry and vengeful, and I clamped my hands over my ears, but it didn't help. I quit the next day. I never went back. But sometimes when I'm alone, I still feel the cold dampness and hear that low hum, that grinding, and the whispers. They never really stopped. They're just quieter now, waiting.